Well, hello everybody. For some reason, the titles aren't running today. Not quite sure why. But anyway, welcome to episode 5 of JC Online, where we attempt to do some drawing live on air and have a little chat and a talk. And talking about having little chats and things. Hello to everybody out there. Please, if you are watching, please say hello on the comments. Let me know who's there. It's always good to know who I'm talking to. But first of all, I've got a little test to do, and I don't know if you know, I'm producing the Home Firth Arts Festival online in September, and this is by way of a lot of testing for that. So I want to try a phone call tonight and see if we can do a live phone call. I'll be phoning a good friend of mine, Gareth Jones, who is well known for space and for science and for motorsport and Formula One and music and presenting. Not sure about drawing, but we'll see how this goes, and we'll see if we can phone live on air.
We're sorry, your number cannot be connected as dialed. Please reach the handset and dial again. Hello, John. Good evening.
That's what I love about Gareth. Yeah, hi. So, you're live on JC Online.
I'm actually more than live. I'm actually ahead of time because of the something like 30-second delay between the processing of the video picture and broadcasting.
That's right.
The phoning me has happened before you've picked up the phone on screen.
Yes, we are speaking to the future. In more ways than one. We're not going to be on here for very long, Gareth. Really, it's just a test to see if it works or not. Next week we could try looking at. Oh, hang on a minute! I've got some pictures of Gareth Jones. There he is. In case anyone doesn't know, you'll notice there's a theme on some of these, which is not me playing. You haven't got your volume turned down, Gareth. I can hear myself on the phone.
I have got my volume turned down.
Oh, right.
I have.
So we
probably get a bit of spill from my headphones sitting on the floor.
Maybe.
There we go. You see, now there's a measure of how long the gap is, because the picture has just come up for me.
Yeah.
I can see the two of us wearing Crocs when we camp together. Quite literally camping in North Wales.
Yes, indeed. Listen, Gareth, I'm going to say good night now and get on with my drawing. So thank you very much for being there at the other end of the line, and enjoy the rest of the show, and we'll speak again soon.
Thank you. Glad to be part of the process. Have a good show. See you later.
Right, well, I hope that worked. I don't know whether we got any audio effects happening there. I hope you enjoyed that, Lindsay, if you were watching. So, last week I drew a spanner, and it was all going really well until the last few minutes, when I picked up a pen, a brush pen. I picked up a pen which I hadn't really used before. So that was the problem. That's why it didn't work so well, because I wasn't familiar with the tool. And oh my goodness. Everything's just disappeared from my screen, but then it's back. I've got a laptop here where I'm seeing the comments and things. I'm just about to look at that. And I was reaching for my mouse to operate the laptop mouse, which of course is a touchpad. Not quite as bad as when I look up at the notice board and try and click on a notice on the notice board with my mouse, but never mind. Let's have a look, see who's in the room tonight. Can we see Catherine? Well, yes. Hello, Gareth. And back in the past now. There's Tim. Hello, Tim, and possibly Lisa as well. That'd be good. Monty's here. Good. I've got 11 comments, but I can't see 11 comments. I don't know quite why. But I think Merowyn's here. Daphne's here. Oh my goodness, I'm getting all sorts of weird things going on. Oh, it's all stopped. Where are we? There we go. Everything's, excuse all this. I don't know why I can't see any more comments there. Meg, hello over there on YouTube. So anyway, as I was saying, I wasn't familiar with this particular, can't even hold the thing. Wasn't familiar with this tool. So it's like trying to, cut a piece of wood with a saw you've never used. Not quite like that, because a saw is very much a saw. So I thought, what can I do about that? It wasn't working. At the end, I was disappointed. The drawing, for me, didn't work. So I could have gone in and I could have edited the film, couldn't I? And cut the film off when it worked. Or I could go. That was what we were. That's where we ended up. That's what I ended up doing. And you can see these big black lines, which really annoyed me. I wasn't familiar with it. I didn't like the way the lines were there. So rather than cut the music, do you have any goats? Yeah, Tim, I hear. Do we have any goats? No, we don't. It's an expression which a good friend from a long time ago, when I was working on a big live TV show. She was from Ireland. Dara Healy, fabulous. She was the production manager, and she used to say when everything was ready, she said the hay's down and the goats are on it, which is a bit like, we're cooking with gas. It's that sort of a thing. So I thought, in honour of Dara, I would do that. I would say that. But no, Tim, sadly, we don't have any goats or hay, for the matter of that. Anyway, so there we were, with a disappointing drawing at the end. So I thought, well, let's scan it in, let's go digital, let's clean it up a little bit. So I cleaned it up a little bit, put a bit of tone in there and cut back the black a bit, but I still wasn't happy. I couldn't really work the black. And also, it's a very different medium once you're in digital. You don't get the lines like you do with a felt, with a pen, with a proper pen, with a proper ink pen. So I went even further digitally. Oh, no, I didn't do that. What are we doing? Oh, I can't work out how to get the picture up now. There we go. And that is what I ended up with. That's putting it all in digitally, putting black in there and then taking the black out with a white tool and generally making it look like it's possibly a lino cut, but it sort of isn't, because the drawings aren't like that. Anyway, there we go. So that's sort of last week's sort out. So that just, all those people out there who say they can't draw, you can't get a drawing wrong. It's just not working yet. And you can make it work. You'll see when I'm drawing, I sometimes put a line in, which I later go over, obscure. It's about whether the drawing's working or not. You can usually make a drawing work one way or another. Susie Tom, Susie Ramsden. Hello, welcome to the show. And yes, Merowyn, I know, why didn't the title sequence work? Who knows? My sister Liz is here, hello. And Vicky is here. Floyd, maybe. Floyd is here. He likes it, but he hasn't commented. So I don't know. We'll see how we go on with all this. So we've done the phone call. We've said hello. We've said maybe there's people watching in Bavaria. Guten Abend. Heute Abend sind es Pils. We're drawing mushrooms. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, messieurs, dames, et n'a pas oublié les vendeurs de les légumes verts. Ce soir, c'est champignons. We'll be drawing some mushrooms this evening. Tricky things, mushrooms, particularly when you order online. You know the story of me being thrown out of Sainsbury's because I was handling the fruit too much to find a lemon which looked like a lemon. Well, I wanted to draw mushrooms, which was sort of... because mushrooms have very bad press, don't they? Mushrooms are all about goblins and pixies and the world of fairy and whimsical and everything like this. And if you look for pictures of mushrooms, they're all toadstools with red with white spots on them and all this sort of stuff. So I wanted to get some really interesting looking mushrooms, but we don't go to the shops these days. We shop online. And we clicked mushrooms. We clicked on the picture that looked most like the weird mushrooms. But of course, it's just a picture. They sent whatever they had whatever they had in the shop. And they were particularly uninspiring mushrooms, really. Not much going on, not much there. But I've had a go with the that's what we're going to be drawing. And as always, a big thank you to Ian Sanderson for the music that we'll be having on this. Everything keeps freezing up on YouTube for some reason. I don't know why. Oh no, we're going again. I'm getting loads of comments, but I can't see the comments as they come up, which is annoying. But you know, we're not doing too bad. All we've had so far is the title music not firing. Always used to happen. I used to work in live television, and you'd work right up to the end, and there was always something would go wrong just at the last minute. It was very often the audio firing. So, drawing. Let's start off. Let's I think do some drawing. So there's the paper. Let's have a bit of music. And this is the pen that's nearly run out, so we'll start off with that. I will put a picture of the mushrooms up in a minute, but not straight away. It's quite interesting. You've got a few different planes and angles to go at with mushrooms, and a reasonable amount of textures. And don't be put off by the fact they're all white. There's plenty going on really in the mushroom field. Is it called a field where they grow mushrooms? Where do they grow mushrooms? Negative space there. Where do we start the next one? Looking. That's what you've got to do. Any minute now my runners are going to be coming in saying, where's the split frame, where's the picture of the mushrooms that you're drawing? As I say, I haven't put that up yet. But that's not to say it won't come up in a minute. So we're just getting the basics in, trying to find the basic shapes. Before we start looking at the form, we'll just find the basic shapes of the mushrooms. As I say, looking is the key to it. And just stop that for a moment. Was that too loud? I don't know. Looking. I remind me of when I was doing a portrait of a young boy years ago. It's about a 7-year-old, and he was thrilled to have his portrait painting. He liked drawing himself. He liked drawing and painting, so he's quite thrilled to have his portrait painted. And as I've said before, 90% of the time you spend looking at the subject, and you only come back to the canvas or the paper every so often to make sure your brush or your pen is where it's supposed to be and the mark is basically behaving itself. So you spend all this time looking. So I'm looking at him and then looking at the canvas. It was actually a drawing to start with, but I do drawings before I do a painting. And his expression, his face got more and more disappointed. So I said, well, what's the matter? And he just looked at me and he said, but you're just copying. I don't know if you remember when you were young, copying at school was wrong. You weren't allowed to copy. It wasn't your own work. And there was a sort of stigma involved with copying a painting. Although in the Italian Renaissance, the whole tradition of painting, the studio tradition of painting, you would copy paintings, because by copying it you understand how it works. So indeed, copying paintings is a way of learning. But he felt I was just looking at him and then copying his face. Maybe he thought I was just going to draw from memory. I don't know. I don't know. He was disappointed, but when he saw the drawing, he was quite thrilled. So let's have a look. Let's see where we are. There you go. There are the mushrooms I'm trying to draw. They don't. It doesn't always look exactly like I'm drawing, because the camera that I've taken the photograph with is not. It lies. Cameras lie. They don't tell the truth. Cameras were not allowed. Photographs were not allowed as evidence in court cases many years ago. You know, as soon as digital manipulation became the level of the pixels digital, they had to stop photographs being used as evidence. Time was, you could have a photograph submitted as evidence in a court case. Not anymore. Not anymore. So you've got to keep giving yourself reassurances, as I think I've said before. Whilst you're drawing, you've got to put in marks which A, tell you where you are, and B, keep giving you some sense of the shape and form of what it is you're drawing, so that you can move the drawing along. Was I right, Gareth, in saying that you don't do a great deal of drawing? You do so many other things. If you did drawing as well, I'd probably be cross. Anyway, so, and you're looking at light and dark areas. You're looking at the shape, and then the cross-hatching, the lines start to give you the form. We've got a bit of sort of strange coming on here. This pen is nearly out, which is great. I've got loads of pens which have nearly run out. I can't throw them away, because I actually still use pens that are just running out. They're really good. Mind you, this one might be. Oh, we've forgotten the music. Things aren't looking particularly mushroomy at the moment. You know, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? A mushroom. Everyone knows what a mushroom looks like. You know, there's a mushroom, and maybe that you'd do that. That's what a mushroom's like, isn't it? You know, it's got some spots on it, and it's probably got a pixie sitting on it somewhere going wah, and doing all sorts of things. But that's not what we're drawing at all. Let's just have a look at some comments. If there are any comments in here. And we're getting more. Hannah Jewel, hello Hannah. Yes. I can't keep hold of it all today. It's running away from me. Ladies and gentlemen. Technically, all over the place. Hannah Jewel, hello. Adam's there with Ivy and Toby. Hello, you two. I hope you found some mushrooms. Try around the back of the garden shed. Get some mushrooms. And Vicky, yeah, there, good. Who else? Lily's there. Lily Ramsden, fabulous. And we've had the fun guy joke already, Gareth. According to Bucks Fizz, right. And Robert Norbury. God, Lord, hello. Photographers definitely allowed. Absolutely. Welcome to the show, Robert. I love your posts. They're so positive and invigorating, and keep me sane in these stupid times. Gareth is striding in huge strides across the two sources, YouTube to Facebook and back again. So, welcome to everyone. Welcome, Dave. If you haven't left a message, welcome anyway. Phil in Scotland, and Floyd. I think I've mentioned Floyd from a long time ago. I knew Floyd before I knew Gareth. That must be 40 years, Floyd. Something like that. Bit much, really, isn't it? Anyway, back to the drawing. We've got a task to fulfill. I've got a special part of today's show. I'm going to feature an artist, the artist of the week. A bit like the director of the week when I was teaching at college. Right. So, there we go. We've got... It's interesting. It's good to know how mushrooms work as well. You know, when you're drawing a figure, you need to do anatomy. When you need to know how a mushroom works. How does a mushroom work? I don't know. I bet there's a joke in there somewhere, Adam. Yeah, how does a mushroom work? Right, so this then, the cross section, is all about how the mushroom works. And I particularly, I wanted to get this because I like those lines within it. This one hasn't got any lines, it's all enclosed. So I cut away a bit to find those beautiful swirly gills. I don't know, would you call them gills? I don't know. Look at, there's some absolutely gorgeous lines there which come into the heart of the mushroom. And there's this dark side, the dark side of the mushrooms. Definitely. And lots of parallel lines. And don't make any assumptions. You think the mushroom goes along the bottom there, and it doesn't actually. It comes up and then down. The top of the mushroom is dinted in. There's nothing straightforward about mushrooms, ladies and gentlemen. Mushrooms are more cunning than they let on. So we'll have that for a moment there, while I've still got the running out pen. I got a new pen. I got a new pen today, all the way from Japan, and fully Japanese. All the instructions are in Japanese, and it's quite complicated, but absolutely delicious. It's a proper brush at the end, not a sort of bit of fibre, bit of bendy fibre. There are actual bristles on the brush at the end, and the ink flows through. I will practice before I start drawing with it. So, drawing with the mushrooms. Here we go. So the third mushroom, which hopefully I've had to cut away a bit so we can see the... Yeah, I think it's all right to alter what you're drawing to make it look more like you're drawing. I don't know. I don't think you should do it with a portrait particularly. Although Lucian Freud always said you never put the sitter next to the portrait, so the portrait doesn't have to look like the sitter. Well, I don't agree with that. I think, if someone commissions a portrait, there's a reasonable assumption that they want it to look like the person. Although in the 18th century, as we know from Blackadder, the portraits were just a lie, an assumption of the royal family and things, of what people believed the royals and the aristocracy should look like. So they were lying even then, not as much as they are today, but lying even then. So there we go. I don't know, should we draw let's have a poll. Do I draw, please mention in the comments, do I draw the peppers or not? please say in the comments whether I should do that. Yes, Meg, you're absolutely right. People should get over the stigma of using reference. You're absolutely right, Meg. The whole idea that I mean, there's a whole swathe of artists who just work from their imagination, but they've been looking, they've been watching. Maybe you think, okay, well, comic book artists are, there isn't a Superman to draw in real life. I mean, spoiler alert, I know, but that's how it is. But they look at anatomy, they look at figures, they draw figures, they look at reference all the time. So you should never worry about if ever I have to draw anything I've just done a whole series of illustrations for a yoga website, and I was drawing bones and mini cars and diggers and all this sort of stuff. I'd always get reference, lots of photographs of them, so I could put all the bits in. But yes, you shouldn't really tamper with the subject matter too much, but you want it to look not believable. As I said last time, you've got to put the right signals in. Did I mention Edward de Bono last week? I was lucky. He's the guy that coined the phrase lateral thinking, I believe. And I was lucky enough to have lectures by him at Art College in Liverpool. Edward de Bono, wonderful guy, and he was funny. He used humour, and one of the things he said was that he believed the way the brain worked in terms of recognition, in terms of looking and recognising things, not seeing anything. He said, if you imagine the brain as a big board of light bulbs, and the light bulbs have a special property that once a light bulb has lit up once, it lights up again a lot easier. So when you look at something, a hand is there, and the image of the hand is on all the light bulbs. So all the light bulbs underneath the fingers light up and send the image back to your brain, photorecepting cells. And there's something about the light bulbs that mean if a light bulb was lit up once, it will be warmed up, it will be warm, it will light up again. So if you see that, all the new cells won't light up as quickly as the old cells, so it'll tend to go back towards that. Made a lot of sense to me at the time, which is the same thing about looking and reference and these mushrooms. You can't assume anything about the mushrooms because we know, you know, what a mushroom looks like. We can go to the supermarket and we can pick mushrooms, and we don't get courgettes, we don't get aubergines. Even though it says mushrooms, we don't even read it. How bizarre is that? No, we don't. Of course not. We look at that for the price, but we just go and we just pick up mushrooms because we know what they look like. But when we're drawing, it's not the same. It's not the same at all. Let's do some more. Let's maybe get onto the bigger pen. This one's for Tim. That's the lid going on and the lid going off. Tim, I would love to have another microphone coming in here so you can hear the scratching of the nib. I think that will be particularly good. Now we've got a bit of a potent pen coming in here. It's new, so all the marks are going to be very powerful. So I'm going to put these gills, if you like, in, and I'm drawing the negative lines. I'm drawing the space. The gills are dark, but what I'm seeing is actually darker between the gills. So there we go. And then we've got some coming on here. These are all following this line. You could spend hours following the line, but we haven't got hours, have we? You've got children to put to bed, you've got bottles of wine to drink, you've got things to do. Now that, I think, is a beautiful sort of soft area. So it'll go quite dark. It won't go completely dark. You know, black and white, pretty heavy. Really want to try and stick having a little bit of texture in there somewhere. I don't know, maybe towards the end this will go dark. And then we find the darker places within the form and we put those in, because we've got the shape now, so we can sort of dot it. We can dot the shape with all the little anomalies that make it particular. And we know that right down in here things are quite dark, and things are quite dark in here, things are quite dark in there. This one has only got one little bit of darkness going on under here, so we'll just put that in like that. Now remember, thick lines come forward, faint lines go backwards. There's lots of, we'll have to go back for Tim. We'll have to go back to the running out pen to get a bit of the shadow in there. Okay, we can't, the pen, ladies and gentlemen, I can now announce, the pen has run out, finally. So that goes in the bin. And let's see if we can find anything. Everything's gone black on the restream thing, which is a little bit frightening, but we will get another pen, a small pen, number 2 it says on it somewhere, and we'll see if we can't put a bit of the shadows in. It's still quite dark, but it's a finer line. So there we go. The light, I'm going to assume it's coming in from this direction. So one thing I want to do, which is one of the reasons for the phone call with Gareth earlier on, thank you very much for that, Gareth, is I'd love to phone artists, friends who are artists, and have them talk a little bit about their drawing while we're on air. So I might be doing that. Kerry, if you're watching in Wales, that might be something I'd be interested in. Now we've got this area here where there's quite a bit going on with the mushroom, which is creating this roundy bit. Which is going there. I haven't put the music on. That's what I missed. For some reason, the music. There we go. The music's back on. Oh, it will be in a minute. Okay, so we can see that's happening there. We're losing a bit here. We're losing a bit of the sense of the mushroom. There, here the line goes actually through here. This is just a sort of shadow cast. A lot of it is understanding what it is, what is cast there. Remember, it's all about putting in enough clues so someone looking at this then can go, oh yeah, those are mushrooms. Not just a series of lines. make that, it's hard to make that stand out. I have to take the background back a bit to make this one stand out a bit more. So knowing where you are when you're drawing, now we're okay. I said earlier on that you've got to put enough marks down so that you know where you are on the page with the drawing and everything. And the featured artist this week is an inspirational painter who I've followed for years now, sadly dead, who was a figurative painter, and you might know him. Let's see how we go. Johan Uglo, a figurative painter who was at the Camberwell School of Art in London, was taught by Kenneth Martin, Victor Passmore, post-war painters, and William Coldstream, who had some particularly strange ideas about drawing. He was very much about drawing, very much about objective drawing. And there we go, and Passmore, Uglo's Pears. And as I said to you, very much influenced by him. I'm very much influenced by him. I love his work. All those little tick marks, the little crosses, are references as to where he is on the canvas. And there's very little blurring of paint. He paints, even though they're round surfaces, he paints flat planes of colour. And the colour is really, really important to him, to get the colour, the shades right, to give it that sense of depth, as well as objectively drawing and putting down the pears absolutely as he sees them. He will do loads of measurements while he's setting up a painting. His paintings will take him years, months, sometimes years, and he will fix himself in a particular viewpoint, and he will look along a converted music stand to mark these points and all these measurements around, to find all the planes, the places where lines join, where the direction of a line changes. He makes all these marks all the way through to help him navigate the painting and objectively paint the subject. I like him perhaps because it's a bit like filmmaking. He doesn't design, what my theories of filmmaking, as anybody who's watching, and a few of you are who I've taught filmmaking, you'll know that when editing a film I like to make cuts. I don't dissolve from one picture to another, because that doesn't happen in real life. We go from one picture to another. So he doesn't dissolve his colours one into another. He cuts firmly down a line and makes a differentiation between one colour and the next. And he's trying to get away from perspective. Perspective is not our friend. Remember a couple of episodes back I showed you the man standing in the archways with the other man behind them looking smaller. Perspective put him in the distance, but our brains counteract perspective and say, but he's a man, he's the same size, so we make him bigger. So by objective drawing, by making these marks, you can try and do away with perspective. It took them years, hundreds of years to find perspective. If you look at medieval paintings, they're wonderful. They've got pictures of people on horseback riding towards a castle to fight the castle. And then on the castle are the defenders, the same size as the horsemen, because they quite naturally go, well, yes, they're the same size because they're men as well. It took them a long time to draw them smaller. And now we're trying to overcome that and not do that at all. Perspective and the brain. We're getting there. We're getting there, I think. Little bits to do still. Has anyone said anything about... oh, I keep doing that. Gareth says the only thing you can draw is Formula 1 cars. Well, good, I did that. I used to make them out of Lego as well, Gareth. To not very good success, because in those days Lego you just had square blocks, and then wheels came out, and that made the racing cars work a lot better. I can tell you that. So you've got marks on the mushrooms, and you've got shadow on the mushrooms, shade, light and dark, which I'm signifying by cross-hatching, which is very similar to the marks, which can be a bit confusing, but we'll just have to live with that one. When you're putting in some shading around a round object sitting on a surface, remember there's light coming back up, so always leave a bit of light around that edge there. Now we've got a strange sharp piece of stuff coming on here, which is a sort of distressed edge. Where I've cut away the mushroom to show the gills. Are they gills? If my niece was watching, I'm sure she'd be able to tell us. I didn't think there was that much detail in mushrooms, but there is quite a bit in here, isn't there? I'm glad I cut it in half, because things would have been a bit tedious if they were all just these weird shapes. Ah, Gareth is quite rightly there. Just looking through the comments here, I think goblins and pixies do sit on toadstools. What's the difference between a toadstool and a mushroom? I don't know. All fungus, aren't they? Toadstools are probably dangerous. Thank you, Daphne. Yes, they work in the dark. In the dark. Yes. Oh yes, all right, Daphne, I'll draw the peppers. And Hannah wants me to draw the peppers as well. Hello, Clive. Welcome. Welcome. And Greg. Is Ethan there as well? Ethan. Zuwei. Fantastic. Probably just said something like Bilberry's then, but never mind. Impenetrably difficult language there. A large diaphragm condenser microphone on my pen. Tim, thank you. Well, if you just put it in the post, that'll be good. Thank you very much. No wine, Lindsay. Oh, no. Yeah, charge extra for the peppers. That's a good idea, I think, like that. Yeah, yeah. Yes, we finished with the fungi jokes. Greg, thank you. Tim. No, I don't know if Tim did one. Gareth did one. Adam did one. Very good. Add the peppers. Okay, here we go. Oh, here we go. General consensus of opinion is that we should put the peppers in. So let's go for that. So we've got that. I don't know if we've got enough space on the page for the peppers, but here we go. They're beautiful peppers as well. They're from Lidl. Excellent plant we got, and they just kept making peppers. So Catherine dried them. Then she bought a pepper grinder, but not a pepper grinder like you imagine a pepper grinder, but for grinding big chunks of pepper like this, and she puts it in the meals, and it's absolutely fabulous. Fabulous. So here we go. Pepper. I mustn't show that fingernail apparently. I want to just show this one. And a beautiful dark red colour, which we're not going to do obviously because it's just in black and white. And a lot of strange texture going on, which we've got to try. And I mean, it's very much what Uglo would have drawn. These wonderfully shaped objects with all these planes and everything going in there, little dints, hollows. Oh, keep banging them. Oh, it's all gone quiet. So many buttons to press. So many buttons to press. So little time. I mean, basically they are dark. They're dark shapes with highlights. And what I would do is I would paint them dark and then go over them with a lighter pen. A white pen, to try and get that shape happening. You've got to maintain the overall shape of the the sort of conical nature of the pepper, but also get some of these highlights of the top. So we could put on back on here where these lines are. We can just put a couple of bits of light on. We can go back over those and make them darker. So that's one. Got the other one happening over here. The top of it is coming down very much there to that side. Like that there. So that one's going in that direction. The peppers make noises. I've already got shadow coming under here. Well, I wasn't yet decided about painting these hot beasts. No turning of the page this week, Tim. You might be disappointed, but I should be turning the page now. You can see I'm moving my arm right round, covering everything up so you can't see what's going on while I do my... One thing you can do if you want to practice drawing, if you want to get good at the old drawing, is a lot of this cross-hatching business is about knowing where you end, where you start and end the line, and that can really help. So you could, if it's something you want to do. Oh look, it's come to that time where we have the drawings from the family. Let's have it. Oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness, we've got 3. Who's this one?
Mama.
Oh, we've got Catherine's drawing of 2 mushrooms and a bit of bacon. Oh no, it's a pepper in colour. And we've got these 2 here by the Kinder, who each week do wonderful. They actually had their own mushroom and pepper to draw there, which was terrific to be able to do that. So let's have a look at this finally and see what we've got. There's light coming in there and darkness in there, giving us that sense of shape coming around there. That's starting to work. That's starting to work. This one, and you do get into a zone, you do get into a sort of state when you're drawing. A right state. It's the same, I'm sure, taking photographs, Monty, Robert. You know, you're looking constantly, finding the moment. All right, a photograph only takes 125th of a second, but you've spent a lot longer looking, thinking, composing, trying to find the picture. So I look at the detail, but I also look at the whole thing and try and balance that off. And we've got shadow happening there, we've got shadow happening here. We've already got a bit of that. Got this big white area here, which I shall leave because I can. Bit of shadow coming from that there. We've got a bit of shadow coming from the bit that just touches the ground there. And then this actually is darker. Sorry, we haven't got the split. There we go. And just that shadow up there of that stalk. And there's not that much shadow coming from this fella. You know, I think we're sort of getting there. Need a bit of differentiation here. Maybe that needs to be just lit up a little bit on that edge. Now, I would wait until this gets darker. I mean, it's this It's Tipp-Ex. Shake and squeeze. You've got to wait for it to dry thoroughly before you go back over it, so I work back into it. So I put dark on the light, then I put light on the dark, then I go back on it with the dark. Painting is much, much easier than drawing in many, many ways, because when you're painting, when you're drawing, you've got a sort of a white space and you're putting lines in which denote area. When you're painting, you cover the whole thing, and you make the line by the two different colours coming close together. I'm going to do a ridiculous analogy. You know, you put a red and a red, and that gap between them creates the line. Obviously, I mean, you knew that. You knew that. And therefore, you can put more red on and move the line that way, put more blue on and move the line that way. Very, very forgiving. And oil paint is so delicious. It stays moist, it stays wet for a long time, so long as you haven't got burnt umber lurking in there. Burnt umber is a cicative, which I'm sure you'll all be glad you know now, and you'll be able to win points in the pub quiz. Burnt umber is a cicative. It's a drying agent. So if you put burnt umber in your mix, it will dry quicker. Flake white dries quicker than titanium white. Hooker's green never dries. All these different properties, because it's a mineral, organic thing. It's not like acrylic paint, which is a chemical thing. Oil paint is an organic creature, and each has different values, different light values, different hues, different chromas, different abilities to shine. Some paints are transparent, some are opaque. And with a pen and paper, you've just got that, haven't you? He says, finding a piece of paper. You've just got that one line. Can't find that thing. You've just got, oh, there we go. I've got a camera which can show me drawings. Move over just in case I don't spoil that. You've just got a drawing, you've got that, haven't you? And that is the same as that. And that's the line. And that might be the edge of something, in which case you need to... But then again, that might be the lack of something. There might be something round here. Suddenly, that then becomes the thing. And this becomes the nothing. Like that, which is nothing. Okay. It's getting late. It's starting to get a little bit obscure. But painting is I love it. It's delicious. Haven't done it for too long, because you need to have a lot of time and a lot of space for painting. Right, any more comments? My sister Liz informs me that yes, they are gills. Gareth, thank you, Gareth, for that mushroom. Very good. And let's see what else we've got. There are lots of comments. They don't seem to stick in order. But never mind. Big hello to everyone that's been watching, and big thank you. Big thank you to Gareth for helping me with the telephone experiment. Next week we might try and see Gareth as well with a Zoom call. Who knows? And thank you for your comments. Let's just have a last look at the mushrooms. Oh, no, we won't do that. We'll do that. And it just remains for me to play the end roller and say we'll see you next week for episode 6.